Good morning. It's a very exciting day around here. It's my first post Couch to 5K long run, which means I'm headed up to North Philly to go run the Phallus Loop. And unless someone saw my last video about this and took my crown, I should become the #1 woman on the leaderboard because no women have ever run it. This will be the most I've ever ran sequentially in my life. And when I get home from this, future me in like 3 weeks through the power of video editing is going to tell you a bunch of stuff about training and eating. And then me a few weeks after that is going to tell you about competing. Okay. Say hi, honey. I'm home. You're looking at the #1 woman. If you're familiar with Philly and you want to do this for whatever reason, the tip is right up at Cecil B at Temple. The shaft, you kind of run through the Temple campus on either side of Broad. And then the balls are between Fairmount and Spring Garden. And it's just really funny to run by people and be like, I don't know, I'm in the balls. Anyway, that was fun. I feel like I'm kind of getting into the groove a little bit. I feel like I can run now. So it's more enjoyable to run, which does make perfect sense, but it's cool because I don't think I could have conceived running for 40 minutes straight and having it not be terrible 2 months ago. And I feel pretty good right now. I'm going to go make some breakfast and you will hear from future me shortly.
All right, here we are. I am wrapping up training for the first ever Philly Push-Pull 5K, a bench, deadlift, and 5K competition. If you didn't see the Couch to 5K video, I will briefly fill you in. I signed up for this back in June, at which point I've been regularly lifting for 2 years, but had not run more than 1 mile at a time since I was 15. And I am now 31, so this is my little summer project to try and start running, see if I can put together a respectable 5K time, while also trying to continue to progress my lifting. This is a video about how I did that in detail, and also about how the competition went. I don't know that part yet because it hasn't happened. Let's talk about training. At the time of sign up, my deadlift PR was 325. My bench PR with a true competition pause was 100 pounds, and I could run one 10-minute mile. I didn't go into this with any specific numeric goals besides get points for the 5K, which in this particular competition means running it under 28 minutes. Previously, when doing things competitively, I've gotten far too tied to the number goals, and then ended up disappointed because I didn't hit them, or disappointed with a PR because it wasn't the PR that I wanted, which is not a good mindset to have about these things. So this time around, I really just wanted to be chill, have fun, and try my best. This does not mean not training hard. The goal is to train as hard as I can. And whatever I get out of it is whatever I get out of it. I'm trying to be as normal up here as I can be. So the training for this happened in 2 phases. The first was about introducing running to my existing lifting program through Couch to 5K. And the second, which we are currently in the thick of, is about trying to peak both of those skills for the competition. Essentially 6 weeks of going extremely ham. The first half, I treated my lifting the same way I treat my usual lifting off seasons. I'm going to over-explain this, but I feel like the context is useful. An off-season program for me means more reps, usually in the 4 to 8, 4 to 6 range, and leaving a few reps in the tank every set, not trying to max out every single thing I do all the time. And I'm only doing 1 true squat and 1 true deadlift day every single week. So I'll have my 1 regular competition style squat day, and then I'll have 1 secondary squat day where I'll do some sort of technique focused accessory squat that I have to do much lighter. Pause squats, front squats, safety bar squats, whatever I want to work on that supports the journey of the main squat. And then same thing for deadlift, 1 big deadlift day and then 1 secondary day, pause deadlifts, deficit deadlifts. Usually a lot of pauses for me. I'm always pausing. Everyone's always saying this about me. They're always saying, she's pausing. And then I'll have my regular bench day and 3 secondary bench days, more pausing, more bro stuff. This all takes up 4 days a week, and then on each of those days, I'll also have some sort of accessory lift. Why this for the off season? This is what I have found through trial and error that I can handle year round, basically. You can't go as heavy for 6 pause reps as you can for 3 regular ones. So this is a way to train regularly without burning myself out and getting super fatigued. And then when it comes time to go super ham for 6 to 8 weeks leading into a competition, I am feeling good and ready to do so. Also, when I added running to the mix, I wanted it to be on top of the amount of lifting I was already doing, not upping them both at the same time and then crashing and burning halfway through the summer. Thus, the 2 phases. Now, the peak, we're here. It's the final 6 weeks leading up to the competition. When I tell you what I'm doing during the last 6 weeks, you may think to yourself, that's a lot of exercise. And yes, it is. But this is not a recommendation for you to do all the time. This isn't even what I do all the time. I've spent my whole off season preparing for it, and in 6 weeks, I'm going to stop doing it. Don't wake up tomorrow and decide that this should be your workout routine. This isn't even my workout routine. To peak for lifting, basically you want to progressively push the weight heavier while decreasing the amount of reps that you do. In the off season, I'm training a few reps below whatever my max is for that particular set. When I'm peaking, I'm right up on that max and trying to push it higher while doing sets of 1 to 4 instead of 4 to 8. I am also doing heavy singles in your area for each lift once to twice a week to practice that specific skill, because that's what I have to do in competition. For running, I'm still learning how one peaks for running. This is a new activity for me, but I've looked at a lot of running programs and I've deduced some things. So I'm doing some runs where I'm pushing my distance but not my pace, and some runs where I'm pushing my pace but not my distance, and hoping that the two shall meet on meet day. That's why they call it that. I'm also still squatting, even though it's not part of this competition, because I would like to improve it. I'm just not peaking it. I'm doing continued squat off-season behavior while I peak the other stuff. Allow me to take you through a week of training. Monday, squat and bench and row. This is my regular squat day, and I'm doing 4 sets of 4 for the whole 6 weeks, bumping the weight up every week if it feels good. And if you're looking at my squat video and you're thinking, that's a weird looking squat, correct, I'm 6 foot tall and most of my body is leg. Next, then I am benching. On the first bench day of every week, I work up to 1 heavy single, starting the 6 weeks a bit under my max and then working up to hopefully a little bit above it. And then I'll do 1 heavy top set, RPE 9 if you're familiar with the concept. And then I'll take 5 pounds off, and then I'll do 3 more sets. I do 2 weeks of sets of 4, 2 weeks of sets of 3, 1 week of set of 2, 1 week of rest. And then some good old-fashioned barbell rows. And I'm doing these for 12. Tuesday, deadlift, long pause bench, Bulgarians, and running. My first main deadlift day follows the exact same pattern as the first main bench day. 1 single, 1 top set, 3 back down sets, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2. And then on Tuesdays, I do a long pause bench. You have to pause for a second in competition, and I'm trying to pause for 2 here. I also do this for 3 sets, following that 4, 4, 3, 3, 2 rep scheme over the course of the weeks. And Bulgarian split squats. If you know, you know. They're the worst possible exercise, but they also made a whole quad appear where there wasn't one before. So I'm going to continue doing them. I'm doing them for sets of 12 right now. And then on Tuesday evenings is my gym's run club, and I run 3 miles at it. Wednesday, 2 options depending on how I feel. I can take a rest day. Rest is important. Or I can take a kettlebell class. And during phases like this, I just don't push the weight very hard. I do like to push the weight in class in the off season when I have more energy. But for now, it's a chill, get moving, get grooving, feel good, have some fun kind of situation. I don't have any video evidence of this because it's a class. So I'm using this as an opportunity to show off my best kettlebell snatch ever. It was 32 kilos. Okay, Thursday. In the morning, I do my speed focused run. I'm using the Nike Run Club app for this. They have a bunch of guided speed runs where they tell you go fast, go slow, go fast, go slow, blah. And they're really pretty fun. And now that I'm getting more comfortable running, it's been kind of fun to play with pace a little bit. I actually have an easy pace now. Who would have thought? And it is fun to go fast. There's one day where I just did like an all-out mile to see how fast I could do it. And then in the evening, pause squats, another secondary bench day, and single leg RDLs. These pause squats are 4 sets of 6 for the whole peak, low, slow, also bumping up the weight throughout if they feel good. Then I'll do some block press for bench. You put a little foam block on your chest. I often fail my bench at that spot when there is no block there. And then I'm doing some kickstand RDLs. Usually I'm doing both legs super heavy RDLs. Right now, in an attempt to keep my legs ever so slightly fresher to run, I'm doing single leg ones because I have to do them lighter. Also, hello Jess. Jess is doing the competition too. Friday, deadlift, bench, hip thrust. This is where things differ from the off season. This is regular deadlift, regular bench, again in the same week. And it's sort of a reverse rep scheme from the first day. So let's say earlier this week, I did my first single at 310. I did a set of 4 at 295, and then I did 3 sets of 4 at 285. Today I want to ramp up to that single, so I could do sets of 4 at 285, 290, 295, and repeat that single at 310. Or if things are feeling good, 290, 295, 300, single at 315, and then the exact same thing for bench, but much smaller numbers and smaller jumps. The goal is to hit the heavy weight from the beginning of the workout at the beginning of the week, at the end of the workout at the end of the week, which is much harder because fatigue, and then be able to push that top single and that top set up again next week. And this day had me adjusting, I'll tell you that. The first week I hit everything as prescribed and it felt great. And then the second week I couldn't get my last warm up off the ground. So it was a balancing act of trying to push myself hard both days, but not so hard the first day that I can't do anything on the second day. And it was also a good little mental test of learning how to just let the bad lift go. Start fresh next week. Trust that things will come together, but also being smart and not completely gassing myself out because it's fun to hit a big number. I am still learning. Saturday, long run day. These started after Couch to 5K at 40 minutes and built up to 60 minutes over the course of the peak. These are not done anywhere near race pace. These are done nice and slow. Just practicing, keeping on a little bit further every single week. And I really enjoyed these, I have to say. It was nice to just kind of meander on slowly, take it all in. I really felt like I was going for a run. And I did something kind of silly, which is I ended up signing up as a 10K for one of my training runs for my 5K, but I wanted some race day experience before I ran in the actual race, and it went right through my neighborhood. So I was like, if I'm gonna be trapped by the course, maybe I might as well just be on the course. It was also kind of cool because I had seen that this race was happening and I was thinking, maybe next year. I don't know if I'll be ready for a 10K by that point, but I was, which is exciting progress in the running department. Sunday, another optional rest day based on feel. If I want to move around a bit, I could take another kettlebell class, or I have an optional programmed list of non-fatiguing secondary movements. Safety bar squats, overhead press, incline bench. I take at least one of the 2 optional rest days. Rest is very important. And on the non-run days, I am still walking. I was doing 10K a day for the rest of the year, but I am currently doing whatever feels good. The taper. After all of this, my body is very tired, but also very strong. For the competition, I want all the tired to subside and I want the strong to shine through. So I do not do all of this up until the day before the competition. The Saturday before the competition, my last long run gets shorter again. So it peaks at 60 minutes and then that last one is only 40. The Sunday or Monday right after that, I will test all of my opening lifts as my last lift. The way this competition works, and also any powerlifting type competitions generally, is you get 3 attempts. If you are very elite and you're worried about what other people are lifting and you have to strategize because you're trying to win, you have a different strategy. You're not watching this video if that's you. If you are a common person and you're just trying to beat your own best lifts, you're not going for a PR attempt on your first try. You're building up to it over the course of the 3 attempts. Usually your opener is something you could hit for like 3 on a bad day. It's basically your last warm up and it just gets you on the board feeling good and confident. Your second attempt is just around your current PR, just under it, and it's a good gauge for your third lift to see how much you can send it. So the third attempt is where I will go for whatever PR seems to be viable in that moment. So on that Sunday, Monday, right before the competition, I'll pick what I think my openers should be. I will test them at peak fatigue, make any adjustments as necessary if my guesses are off, and then I don't touch a weight for the rest of the week. I will go on 1 or 2 slow, short runs. I'll go on a couple lovely little walks, and then I will show up on Saturday ready to move and groove. Let's talk food, shall we? How I think about feeding myself to support all this activity and how it differs from my usual feeding of myself. I know this is not everyone's jam, so if you want to skip the nutrition corner, here's a time code. And if you don't want to skip, here we go. My goal for this 6 weeks is to maintain my weight. I see a pretty noticeable drop off in lifting performance when I don't, but I'm doing a lot of activity right now, so it's hard to. So I'm going to show you an average day of food and changes I made for this chunk of time to help make that happen. Breakfast. Perhaps you've noticed I'm not cooking a lot of breakfast food on this channel. That's because I have outsourced breakfast. I've had an oatmeal subscription for like 2 years. It's not my best trait, but it is my truth. I know it would be cheaper and not hard to do it myself, but I don't want to. So I pay the internet oatmeal company to do it for me. I get a big pack of the overnight oats chocolate flavor. I don't get any other flavors. That's the one that I like. And I make them to the package instructions with an additional scoop of protein powder and also frozen fruit. This is my breakfast, my protein sludge. It does actually taste pretty good. Between breakfast and lunch, I'm having more powders. I promise food is coming shortly. I have some lemonade creatine that I always take, and during this 6-week chunk, I am adding some clear raspberry protein to it. When I first got it, I was so excited to try it with seltzer and make a protein float. A prote. And I don't know what happened scientifically, but some sort of chemical reaction went on and these 2 things cannot combine. This particular clear protein and any fizzy beverage, they only combine to make protein foam. And it's really weird and it's really bad. but with the creatine and regular, non-bubbly water. It makes a nice, if somewhat gritty, juice beverage. Lunch. This is one of my go-to very easy meal preps. I just make an enormous bowl of marinated chickpeas and crumbled tempeh. The marinade is whatever at the store speaks to me that week, or whatever I have at home that speaks to me. This week I got some of the yuzu miso glaze from the brand Amsam, and it was very tasty. So I just prep a week's worth of chickpeas and tempeh. Come lunchtime, I'll make a serving of couscous, and when it's nearly cooked, I'll throw in a handful of spinach or kale and just steam it all together. And then I'll take a big scoop of the tempeh chickpea mix and I'll air fry it. For the sauce, I've made a very big batch that I'm having for both lunch and dinner. I've been using Greek yogurt the last few months in an attempt to like it, but I'm back on the tahini right now because I like to eat more fat during the high activity times. So the sauce is tahini, harissa, pickled jalapeno brine, miso, salt, pepper, nutritional yeast. And that is my big ol' lunch bowl. Snack. The snack depends on what's at the house and what I'm in the mood for. The only mandate is have a snack. Snacks I have had during this time include fruit with peanut butter and jelly, dates, pretzels with peanut butter, Oreos, frozen grapes with Sour Patch Kid coating on them. I'm not going for any particular macronutrient here. My only goal here is calories. Dinner. This is another classic meal prep for me. We have the halal cart at home meal prep. Gardein spicy chicken patty, rice with turmeric, and a prepped side salad with little tomatoes, red onion, cucumber, parsley, and lemon juice. And that sauce that I already mentioned. Sweet treat. This is often a protein treat, but sometimes it's just a regular old sweet treat too. My protein treat of choice is yogurt, protein powder, cocoa powder, sprinkle of salt, frozen fruit, and any other additional mix-ins that speak to me. I've got the black bean brownies from the bean video that I've been putting in there. I've been putting extra peanut butter in there, but also sometimes I have ice cream, and that's what I'm getting up to in the food department. Okay, I've got some training reflections, and then I've got the competition. It still hasn't happened. I hope it went well. This training has been so much more fun than the training for my powerlifting meet at the start of the year. And that is because I am being normal in the brain. Not having any specific numeric goals is making it so much easier to just let a bad session pass me by because I don't feel like I've fallen behind on something. The goal is to train hard and have fun. If I've missed a few reps, I've still trained hard. I can adjust for next week. It's fine. You see how healthy I'm being? It is giving me hope that future powerlifting meets will also be fun because I just completely psyched myself out last time, and that is an unnecessary way to approach a local competition at which I placed 7th the lifting this time around. Man, I'm having a blast. I love ripping heavy deadlifts twice a week, and I wish I could do it all year. I'm repping in the 300s for the first time, and it feels so cool. They feel like real powerlifting numbers. My bench also feels like pretty solid, as solid as my bench can be. Not to jinx anything, but I'm regularly hitting stuff now that I was inconsistently hitting a few months ago. I'm hitting stuff with a pause right now that I was touch and going a few months ago. So while the number may be not much higher, it is more consistent, which is very promising in the bench department. And my running update. Every single run since Couch to 5K has been better than every single run of Couch to 5K. I got a few comments on that video that ring very true to my experience, which is that learning to run, building the capacity to run is not fun. But actually running, once you can kind of run, is much more fun. And that has been very true for me. I am definitely still a beginner, but I feel past that immediate beginner phase, which is a relief, honestly. It was not very fun. I feel like I have enough capacity now to experiment with things. I can play with pace. I can play with distance. I'm not just fighting to survive out there. I'm also really enjoying planning the routes for the long runs, getting to go on a little journey, getting a little sandwich at the end. I experienced my first runner's high on one of those long runs, and I cried passing the 9th and Walnut Wob while listening to Blank Space. Really cool. Also, the weather's cooling down, so that's certainly helping. All in all, I can see myself continuing to run after this more than I could see myself continuing to run 6 weeks ago.
Hello, we're here. It's the day before the competition. I've did a number of important things this week. We've got competition manicure, competition haircut. I got a massage, and I went on a bunch of restful walks and 2 slow jogs. My training ended off in a very great place on the deadlift and the run. It ended off exactly where I started for bench. That's just my last deadlift single in training has put me in a place to try kind of a pipe dream number tomorrow. I'm keeping my first and second attempts pretty low, so I have as much juice as possible for that one particular lift because I think I have something kind of crazy in me. I don't really have as much like running experience to be able to say like, okay, this is how kind of my final time trial went on tired legs. So this is how I think it's going to go in the competition. I don't know. Running kind of remains a mystery to me in terms of like what I can expect out of myself, but we'll see how it goes. The thing about this week of rest is that though I know I need it, I get so antsy. I see everyone else posting their final workouts. I get all in my head, and I have to keep reminding myself that like I knew all along that this is a sport in which there are a lot of people who are smaller and stronger than me. That's been true the whole time. I forgot about that for like 6 weeks when I was really deep in my little training hole, but now I'm out of it and I'm remembering, but that has been true the whole time. I was never going to win this. I don't need to worry about what everyone else is doing. I just want to be like excited about to the point that I've gotten to and to go forth and have a good time. So that's what I'm gonna do. And now I'm gonna do a little what's in my bag. First, lifting belt. If you've never lifted before and you've wondered what these things are for, before you lift, you kind of like fill your stomach with air and brace your abs really hard, and this gives you like something to do that against. And that physical feedback is really helpful. Shoes. I hate lifting in shoes, but it is required in competition. I like to squat in squat shoes, but we're not squatting in this. So I always forget to train in the damn shoes. And then when it comes time to do openers, I'm like, the Converse are basically the closest thing I have to being able to lift barefoot because they're flat. So deadlift socks. You have to cover your whole shin with sock, lest you scrape it with the bar and bleed all over it. Sour Patch Kids. I also have 2 peanut butter and jellies, which are in the fridge. The sunglasses. The Garmin to pace the race. Headphones. I've been trialing out different versions of a playlist, and this is where I've landed for the 5K. I'm still not sure what to wear. They're giving us a t-shirt, but I don't know what the t-shirt looks like. So I will wear an athletic short of some kind. The color is just a bit up in the air. Also, can't remember the last time I left the house with a t-shirt without the bottom 4 inches cut off of it. So perhaps I bring scissors and see if they let me crop it on the spot. Please don't make me run in sleeves. I am excited. I don't sound excited because I'm sleepy, but I am excited. Tomorrow I gotta get there at 6 for weigh-ins, and we'll see what happens. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. Running shoes. I'm wearing them to get there so they're not in the bag. Don't worry, guys.
Make some noise!
Hello. Side quest complete. The competition was yesterday. It was so fun. I came in 10th out of 17 women. I am mid and I am proud. Jess, who you saw earlier in the video very briefly, she got second. It was her first ever competition. She got second. Everyone say congrats, Jess, in the comments. She ran the 5K in like 23 minutes. It's crazy. My stacking up in each of the individual events. I got 6th out of 17 on the run. The lifts are scored in like a ratio of your lift to your body weight, and I am not going to do all that math. So just on a pure weight lifted, I got 17th out of 17 on the bench, and my deadlift was 4th out of 17. This was like genuinely the best possible day I could have had. I lifted everything I wanted to lift. I ran as fast as I wanted to run. That is just like how my best stacked up against other people. And now I will stop gatekeeping my numbers and walk through the day. Bench was first. My first attempt was 40 kilos, 88 pounds. Smoked it. My second attempt was 42.5 kilos, 94 pounds. Smoked it. And my third attempt was 45 kilos and 99 pounds. Smoked it. In these types of competitions, your attempts can only be made in 2.5 kilo increments. So as much as I would have preferred to do 100 or even perhaps 101, the next 2.5 kilos up is basically 105 pounds. And that just wasn't going to be there. I know these sound like minuscule differences, but on bench, it's like a lot. And I just wanted to take the 5-pound competition PR and be happy with that. I also missed 100 a couple times in training. So this like quite smooth 99. I feel very good about that. Last place swag, deadlift. My first attempt was 135 kilos, 297 pounds. Smoked it. My second attempt was 145 kilos, 320 pounds. Smoked it. And my third attempt was 160 kilos, 352.5 pounds.
Make some noise!
Smoked it. This was 27 pounds more than when I started training for this. It was a 50-pound competition PR since March and a 7.5-pound PR on top of my best training lift. The last few weeks, the peak just like really peaked. Twice a week, I was just like chipping my own PR by 5 pounds. In a week and a half out, I hit 345 and I was like, all right, let's go. 352 in competition it is. And 352 it was and a half. It was funny to hear back from my friends and family afterward because I know when I'm lifting that I'm going to be like pulling for a few seconds before it leaves the ground. Like the hardest part of the lift for me is getting it off the floor and like the first 2 inches. And if I get past that point, 99% chance I'm going to be able to get it up and lock it out. But apparently this is very stressful to watch. And if you watch the video, this is our coach John here in the back. He's sitting there like, and then the moment it breaks the floor, he's like, oh my God, thank God. So I'm sorry for the emotional roller coaster that I appeared to have put people through with that one. That's just what it's like for me. I have to be a very patient deadlifter. Anyway, I deadlifted 352.5 pounds. And then I had to run a 5K. I kept forgetting about that and then remembering and being like, I have to run a 5K. A big deadlift feels like the end of the day. And it was not. But run a 5K we did. My chip time was 26:56, but my little watch said that the route was 3.2 miles and that my 5K time was 26:10. Regardless of which one it actually is, both of those are a huge improvement on the 1 10-minute mile that I could run 3 months ago. And both of those achieved the goal of get points for the 5K. I also raw dogged this race with no music. My perfectly curated playlist didn't get to use it. When I was packing my bag, I was like, I have my watch. That's great. I don't need to bring the running belt. I don't need to wear shorts with pockets because I won't need my phone. The watch can record the race. Of course I need my phone. It has my perfectly curated 5K playlist on it. But when I got to the course and realized the error of my ways, it was too late to go back and get it. And I could have borrowed someone's phone, but I didn't have a belt or a pocket to put it in. And my game time decision was that hearing my own thoughts was going to be better than like sweaty carrying a phone for the whole 5K, which I think was the right call. But hearing yourself breathe like that out there, that is humbling. So that was the day. A bench competition PR, a huge like deadlift milestone and also PR, a 5K PR if we're using my Garmin's time, but a 5K that hit my goal regardless. And it was really fun. And I'm really glad I signed up for it. Training reflections, things I'm happy with. Things I do differently. The main thing is that I'm very proud of myself for sticking with the running. I hadn't run more than 1 mile since I was 15 and I am 31. When I signed up for this, between Couch to 5K and the program that I did afterwards, I had 42 runs planned and I went for 41 of them. I did not like running after 20 runs, but I did like it after 40. And I do fear that there's something to learn in there. I am also like extremely proud of the brain gains. I spent all of January and February crashing out about my March powerlifting meet daily for weeks. And this time around, I had exactly one very stupid running related meltdown. And that was basically at the end when I was just like out of energy to not have it. I went in feeling extremely confident and just like, I have trained as hard as I can for this. Whatever happens, happens. And it was so much more fun to do it that way. If I was to do this again next year, I would run and lift together at least once a week. The days where I did them together, I always did like one before work, one after work. So when it came time to do the 5K yesterday, I was fading. I would also do some more pacing and like tempo practice next time. I found myself much more drawn to the slightly longer and slower runs than I did to the shorter and faster ones. And I'm not mad at myself for following my enjoyment in a new activity. But if I did this particular competition again, I would do more speed training. And I would go on more runs wearing the watch and get a better idea of like how fast I'm actually going, not just how fast I feel like I'm going. On the lifting side, I always come out like way too hot at the start of a new chunk of program. I'll hit some like crazy rep PR and then be like, great, this is my new baseline. Nowhere to go but up. And that is a recipe for having to go down. So now that this is done and I'm starting my off-season program, I'm not going to start with my like best set of 4 from the past month. I'm not going to do that. You heard it here first. And I am frustrated with bench. I think it is time to swap out my secondary bench days and try some other secondary bench things. So I'm going to the chest mines. I'm going to do a lot of dips. And I'll see you all in 6 months with huge pecs and hopefully able to bench over 100 pounds. What's next? I'm so glad you asked. My gym has a Halloween deadlift competition in a month. I do not have another month of competition training in me. I'm very tired. So I'm headed back to my regular off-season programming. I will probably throw a few little singles in there to see if I can try and maintain the 350 for a month. But if I can't, That's fine. My last big goal for the year is to be able to deadlift the entire Eagles 53-man roster. The only Eagle that remains is Jordan Mailata, our 6'8", 365-pound legend. I have now physically done the rest of them, just not sequentially. So an attempt at that is probably coming in December. I want to do another full powerlifting meet sometime next year whenever I feel like my squat and my bench have made some true improvements. I'm excited to have some energy to really push squats again through the end of this year. I feel like things were starting to click again this summer after it not getting along for the first 6 months of the year. I'm feeling very ready for a long, grindy off season. Running. I'm gonna keep doing it because I like it. I will continue at least until it gets cold, and then we'll have to see, because I have very bad cold weather asthma and very bad seasonal depression. There is a chance that running helps with both of those things, which would be infuriating, because that would mean that I would have to run in the winter. And it's so cold and it's so dark, and I hate being cold and I hate the darkness. So I'm just going to take it week by week, see what happens. And if I can't deal with it, then I will start running again in the spring. I can't say I have any running related goals, which is kind of nice, honestly. I really do dream of the day that I deadlift 400 pounds. But running is just a thing I am enjoying doing, that I improved at for the sake of this competition. But I don't think I have the ambition to improve it further. I think I'm just going to casually enjoy it, which is unlike me. If you can't tell, I'm kind of excited about that. I'm excited about having an ambitionless activity. Closing thoughts. This could have been a longer video about my mid-athletic endeavors, so thank you for watching if you're still here. This was not the hardest competition prep I've ever done emotionally, but it is absolutely the hardest one I've ever done physically. I couldn't have handled it a year ago, so it was really cool to see not just the 3 months of training come together, but really 2 years of work at getting my brain in order and my muscles in order to let it all kind of come together and happen, and to be able to enjoy it while I was doing it. It was not without complaint, but if you were doing Bulgarians for sets of 12, you would complain too. Anyway, not to be too sincere on Main, but it is indeed a gift to be able to do this and to feel good doing it, and it hasn't gotten old yet, and I don't know if it ever will. Okay, bye.